Hi everyone, Olivia Hunt, Realtor with Realty One Group Sterling on Team Gold. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite banana bread recipe. So I'm going to start by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Then I'm going to prepare my pan by spraying it with a little of the grease and laying a strip of parchment down the center. This just makes for really easy removal. If you're looking for this recipe, you can find it on my Instagram, my Facebook, or you can get yourself added to my mailing list. I send out a monthly postcard with recipes from your realtor. Now I'm adding in my dry ingredients to a bowl. We're starting with 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're adding 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then we are going to be adding a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now watch as I struggle to get this cinnamon out of this container. I'm not really sure why I have such a hard time with this, but if you have any tips for getting this out any easier, please let me know either in the comments or shoot me a message with it, because I would love to know. In all my years of baking, I've never been able to figure it out. Then I'm just going to mix all my dry ingredients together using a fork or a whisk. And then I'm gonna start on the wet ingredients. So we're beginning with a 1/2 cup of softened butter. You can either use unsalted or salted. To me, it doesn't make a huge difference, but some people are a little bit more picky about that. Then I'm adding in 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar, and we're gonna use my stand mixer to mix those two together. Then I'm adding in 2 room temperature eggs. Then you're going to beat those together using the stand mixer again, and then add in 1/3 cup of plain Greek yogurt. And don't make a mess like me. Then you're adding in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then I'm going to begin starting on my bananas. So I recommend using very ripe bananas. Honestly, if the skins are darker, it's a lot better in my opinion, because the bananas are sweeter and they're a lot easier to mash, and I'm all about what is easier to use. But at this time, I only had the yellow bananas, so that's a-okay. I'm just breaking them apart to make them a little bit easier for me to mash here in a second. 4 large bananas, and then I'm just going to begin mashing them with a fork. And like magic, there they are, all mashed up. And I'm gonna add them into my stand mixer as well, and then use the mixer to combine all that together. After all the wet ingredients are together, I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl and then start adding in my dry ingredients. I add in the first half, and I just mix until that is all incorporated. Of course, scraping down the sides of the bowl, and then yet again adding in the rest of the dry ingredients, and once again just mixing until combined. Make sure you don't overmix. It can mess with some of the reactions of the gluten and things like that. Then you're gonna add in your chopped walnuts. If you don't have pre-chopped ones, you can chop them like I did. And then you're gonna add in your chocolate chips. We're using a 1/2 cup of walnuts and 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. And then I'm going to add all of my batter into the prepared loaf pan. The bowl can get pretty heavy here, so if you have an extra set of hands with you, you might wanna ask for some help. But just scrape down the sides of the bowl and make sure all of that gets added into your loaf pan. And then I just take my spatula and I very lightly move around the batter and make sure that it is evenly spread across the loaf pan. I also will take the pan and just kind of tilt it around, hit it against the counter, knock out any air bubbles, and do a little shake here and there. And then after I feel that it's pretty evened out, I just sprinkle a little bit more of my chopped walnuts right over the top to make it pretty and taste good, and add some chocolate chips as well. As you can see, I very much like my chocolate chips. I pop that into the oven, and I start with a time of 30 minutes on the clock. After that first 30 minutes is up, I'm actually going to take some aluminum foil and just make a little tent over the top of the loaf pan. This is to keep the edges and the outside of the banana bread from browning too much. And then I pop it back in for another 30 minutes. After that second 30 minutes, you carefully pull your loaf pan out of the oven, and then this is when you're going to check to see if it's baked all the way through. If your knife does not come out clean, you want to pop it back in for about 2-minute increments, and if it's just chocolate, it's good to go. So that's how I make my very favorite, best ever banana bread. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. I hope you make it. If you do, please leave me a comment letting me know what you thought. Send me pictures. I love to see people trying these out. So good luck and happy baking. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more recipes from your realtor.